Every financial system has a choke point. In the old world, it was banks. They decided who passed and who waited. But in the new world, scarcity itself is the choke point. And if you're holding 10,000 XRP in a world where the math gives each person only 12, you are already standing at the gate. That's what this episode is about. Why the XRP Rich List isn't hype, it's inevitability. Why the You Are Rich List doesn't just measure wealth, it reveals who controls tomorrow's flow of money, and why your stack places you at the funnel of global demand before the headlines even arrive. So here's what you do. Stay with me until the end. Because if you click away, you'll miss the one truth that turns your coins from code into control. Subscribe now to XRP Today USA, so you don't lose the insights that millions will only discover too late. Share this with the one person in your life who still thinks XRP is just speculation. And drop your conviction in the comments, because today we're not just talking about coins, we're talking about who stands at the choke point of the future. This is not noise, this is math, this is positioning, and it starts right now. Part 1. Choke point revealed. Every system has a choke point, the one place where everything must pass. In the old financial world, it was banks and clearinghouses. If you wanted to move money, you had to go through them. They were the gate, they set the rules, and the world had no choice but to comply. But today, the gate is shifting. Scarcity itself has become the choke point. XRP is not infinite. It is fixed, shrinking, and concentrated. Divide it across 8 billion people, and you get 12 coins each. That's the average. That's the baseline. Now compare that with your position. 10,000 XRP in your wallet isn't just a number. It's placement at the choke point of demand. When global finance needs liquidity, it won't spread evenly. It will converge. And when it converges, it passes through the rare few who already hold. That's what the XRP Rich List really means. It isn't a scoreboard. It's a map of who stands at the choke point of tomorrow's economy. And once you see it, you realize you're not just holding coins, you're standing at the gate where the tide must flow. Part 2. What a choke point means. A choke point is not theory. It's the reality of flow. Money, like water, never spreads evenly. It always narrows into channels, always finds the path of least resistance, always squeezes into the hands of those who control the gate. In the world of XRP, that gate isn't built by hype or headlines, it's built by math. 12 coins per person is the global baseline. But when you hold 10,000, you're no longer in the crowd. You're standing in the narrow corridor where scarcity funnels value. And here's why it matters. When global demand rises, when banks, payment networks, and markets begin to move liquidity, they won't knock on every door. They'll push through the choke point because the system has no choice. This is what most people miss. They think adoption will spread evenly, like sand across a desert. But adoption under scarcity behaves differently. It concentrates, it converges, and it flows directly into the hands of the few who already hold enough to matter. That's why the XRP Rich List is more than a chart. It's the living proof of who stands at the choke point before the world even realizes one exists. Part 3. Funnel of liquidity. Picture the world's money like a vast ocean, billions of people on one side, and the full weight of financial systems, transactions, and utility on the other. But between the two isn't a flat open space. It's a funnel, and that funnel gets tighter every year. Every XRP burned, every key lost, every coin moved to cold storage makes the opening narrower. The float shrinks, the available supply thins out, and suddenly, liquidity, the fuel of global movement, has fewer places to go. Now ask yourself, where are you in that funnel? If you're holding 10,000 XRP, you're not floating near the top with the masses. You're not scrambling with the average trying to claim their 12 coins. You're standing at the neck, the very choke of the funnel, where liquidity must pass. This isn't about price speculation. This is about flow. And in every system, those who control the narrowest part of the funnel control the pressure, the speed, and eventually, the price. That's the silent power the XRP Rich List reveals. Not just how much you hold, but how few can ever stand where you already are. Scarcity creates the funnel. Utility pushes the demand. And your position decides whether you're above the flow or whether the flow passes through you. Part 4. 10,000 versus 12. At the gate. 8 billion people. One fixed supply. Do the division and you get 12 coins each. 12. That's the mathematical reality. That's all most people will ever touch, if they touch any at all. Now hold that image and place your position next to it. 10,000 XRP, not 12, not 100, not even 1,000. 10,000. In a world where math says the average person holds 12. You stand at the gate with a stack that bends the curve entirely. That gap is more than a number. It is leverage. It is identity. It is the difference between being a spectator at the edge of the system and being one of the rare few standing in the narrow doorway where global demand must pass. Think of the gate like a crowded stadium. Billions wait outside with their 12 coins. But you're not outside. You're already inside, holding a key that no one else can duplicate. When the doors open and the flow begins, you're not rushing in. You're already seated. This is what the XRP Rich List proves. 10,000 coins in a 12-coin world doesn't just make you rich, it makes you rare. And rarity, when demand surges, is the one thing the market cannot ignore. So don't look at your stack as a balance on a screen. Look at it for what it truly is, a gate pass into the most exclusive choke point of the future financial system. Part 5. Demand has no choice. When global demand rises, it doesn't ask permission. It doesn't wait for fairness. It doesn't stop to see if everyone got their 12 coins. Demand moves fast, and it moves where the supply already sits. And here is the truth most people don't want to face. Demand has no choice. When banks need liquidity, when payment networks flip the switch, when cross-border flows surge, they cannot invent new XRP. They must reach for what exists. And what exists is already concentrated in the hands of a few. If you are holding 10,000 XRP, you are not waiting in line with the crowd. You are the line. You are standing in the narrow corridor where every wave of demand must pass. Scarcity has already positioned you as the gate. That's why the XRP Rich List matters. It isn't speculation about what could happen. It is a forecast of what must happen. When necessity collides with scarcity, the market doesn't negotiate. It concedes. It flows straight into the hands of those who hold enough to matter. This is not about luck. This is not about hype. It's about inevitability. Because in a fixed supply system, demand can scream all it wants. But in the end, it only has one path forward. And that path runs directly through you. Part 6. Blockchain proof of flow. You don't have to imagine this. You don't have to believe it blindly. The blockchain tells the truth, and it tells it every second of every day. Look at the movement of XRP. You'll see a shrinking float. Not because someone said so, but because the data shows it. Wallets moving to cold storage. Coins lost forever to forgotten keys. Burn mechanisms that permanently erase supply. Locked balances that never return to circulation. What's left? A tighter pool, a thinner market, a funnel that narrows with every irreversible transaction. And now layer on the pressure, utility rising, use cases expanding, cross-border rails testing live settlements. Where do those transactions turn when they need liquidity fast? They don't have options. They go where the coins are. That's why your wallet matters. That's why 10,000 XRP doesn't just sit. It holds gravitational pull. It attracts flow because the open market is running out of options. The XRP Rich List is not about vanity, it's about velocity. It shows who already holds the coins that liquidity will be forced to pass through, not by theory, but by on-chain fact. Math paints the picture, blockchain confirms it, and together they point to one conclusion. When demand rises, it will trace the path that's already been written in the blocks. And that path leads straight to you. Part 7. Rare Wallets. As gatekeepers. In every system, there are gatekeepers. In the old world, they were banks and institutions. In the new world, it is the rare wallets, the holders who sit on positions so outsized that liquidity cannot move without them. If the average is 12 coins and you hold 10,000, you are not just a participant. You are a gatekeeper. Every transaction, every surge of demand, every institutional flow will have to brush past the hands of wallets like yours. Not because of status, not because of hype, but because the math leaves no other way. This is what the XRP Rich List reveals. It is not a chart for bragging. It is a roster of gatekeepers. It shows who silently holds the keys to tomorrow's financial corridors. And when the system switches on, these wallets won't need to shout. Their leverage will speak for them. Picture it. Global institutions scrambling for liquidity. The funnel tightens. Demand rushes. And there you are, not chasing, not begging, not waiting, but standing at the gate, already in possession of what the world needs. That is the quiet power of rarity. The You Are Rich List doesn't flatter you. It identifies you. It says, when demand must move, you are the choke point. You are the gate. You are the passage the future cannot avoid. Part 8. Discipline keeps the gate. Being at the choke point means nothing if you can't hold the gate. Scarcity math may have placed you here, but only discipline keeps you here. Because in the world of crypto, the greatest losses don't come from price. They come from carelessness. Gatekeepers fall when they treat their position like a headline instead of a responsibility. Hot wallets exposed, seed phrases forgotten, leverage taken at the peak, exit scams believed. And just like that, the gate closes. But not for the world. For them. If you're holding 10,000 XRP, you're standing in the most privileged corridor in modern financial history. But privilege without protection is a wasted advantage. Discipline is what separates the temporary holder from the lasting gatekeeper. Cold storage is not optional. Backup seed phrases in secure, offline, redundant places are not a suggestion. Avoiding the sirens of hype and quick flips is not a sign of weakness. It's the foundation of your edge. The XRP Rich List doesn't just reflect quantity, it reflects endurance. It tells the quiet story of those who outlasted the noise, guarded their stack, and walked silently toward inevitability. If scarcity math made you rare, then discipline is what makes you untouchable. Protect the gate, because one day the world will need to pass through it. And when that day comes, they'll find you still standing. Part 9. Conviction over noise. Noise is everywhere. The headlines scream about the next pump, the next crash, the next lawsuit. Social feeds amplify fear, hype, and doubt. And every cycle, millions listen, react, and lose their place. But conviction is different. Conviction doesn't flinch when charts dip. Conviction doesn't celebrate at every spike. Conviction listens to the math, not the chatter. It holds steady when noise gets loud because noise is temporary, but scarcity is permanent. Think about what you've already endured. The lawsuits, the rumors, the fear campaigns that told you XRP was dead. Yet here you are, still holding, still positioned. That isn't luck. That's conviction. And conviction is what noise can never erase. This is why the XRP Rich List is not just a list of balances. It's a list of identities. It shows who heard the noise and chose not to follow it. It records who trusted math over headlines, who stayed while others sold. In the end, conviction is the trait that keeps gatekeepers standing when the world shakes. It is the quiet strength that noise cannot touch. And it is the reason your 10,000 XRP still waits at the choke point, while billions still chase the echo of the crowd. Noise fades. Conviction remains. And the Rich List proves that conviction is not just belief. It is wealth in its purest form. Part 10. Claim your choke point rank. When this episode ends, you have two choices. You can close the screen, scroll to the next distraction, and let the noise wash away what math already proved. Or you can claim your rank. Because the XRP Rich List is not a fantasy, it's a mirror. And right now, it shows you at the choke point of global demand. 10,000 coins in a world of 12 each is not coincidence. It is design. It's the rarest position most people will never touch. So what do? You protect it, you anchor it, and you own it before the headlines finally admit what you already know. The Rich List has already written your name into tomorrow's story, but only you can decide to step into it consciously. Claiming your choke point rank means taking action today, securing your wallet, reinforcing your conviction, and preparing for the flood of demand that will have no choice but to pass through you. This isn't hype. This isn't hope. It's inevitability. And the question is simple. When the tide turns, will you already be standing at the gate, or will you be outside watching it close? The XRP Rich List says you're already inside. So claim it, own it, and never let it go. You've just seen the math. You've seen why the choke point is real, why the XRP Rich List is not hype but proof. Now the question is simple. What will you do with it? If you believe in scarcity, if you believe in discipline, if you believe in preparing before the headlines arrive, then this is your channel. Subscribe to XRP. Today USA right now so you never miss the insights the crowd only wakes up to when it's too late. Share this video with someone who still thinks XRP is just noise, because one day they'll thank you for showing them the signal. And drop your conviction in the comments. Tell us where you stand, because this isn't just a video. It's a movement of holders who prepare in silence. This is XRP Today USA, the home of the rare, the disciplined, the ones already standing at the choke point of the future. If you're still here, you're already part of it. Now claim your place, hit subscribe, and let's keep building together.